Okay, so in this tutorial, I'm going to show how to make this simple object rig, right? It has a lattice, clusters, and also involves parenting and a couple of constraints. And so first I'm going to show a demonstration of the rig and controllers. Then I'm going to show um, about the clusters and lattice. And then I'm going to show the rig in action. And this is applicable to the tools that are used are applicable to not just this object, but other types of things. Let's say, for example, one student needs to have a trampoline, and uh, that would involve probably needing a lattice and these clusters, and that doesn't take too long. Um, yeah. So first, I'll show the rig. Right, and grab it, and it has this. Okay, this is your stretch controller. This is your center of gravity controller. Right, all of this is very similar to the ball rig that I showed in class, and even the animation is extremely similar, pretty much the same in terms of the techniques and the reasons why within the graph editor. So this is your center of gravity controller. This is your stretch controller. And the stretch controller also has a bit of rotation. You can also twist it like that. Okay. This is your cluster. That C is for cluster, which I'll explain. And this is your bottom squash controller, just like in the other ball rig. Let me turn on back face culling so that I can look underneath it. Right. So remember that part, back face culling, super useful. And the squash controller, can kind of move it left to right, up and down. You could also, do that. And oh yeah, you could also scale it too, right? The top one, you can also kind of scale it, like top heavy or whatnot. And your center of gravity, which will scale everything together. And these guys will also kind of do that. Yeah. So that's for 3 minutes. And if you look here, this is part of the lattice system, right? And if you look here, I have here what's going on is a parent constraint, a scale constraint, which I'll describe in a show, I'll talk about. And there's a couple of other constraints, which I'll, again, describe what constraints are and what these point constraints, scale constraint, and orient constraints are. It sounds scary words and scary looking icons, right? But I will explain what it is. It's just click. It's just select and click and activate. That's all it is, like literally. And these are the controllers, right? This is just the ground plane. I named it. All right, so that's what 4 minutes, 16 seconds. And over here is just my display layers. Okay. This is my lattice and animation controllers. This is the ground. And I'll quickly show the animation to keep this 5 minutes or less. And what your hard work will be able to create. And so that what you learn here will be applicable to, like I mentioned, other things. The tools being used. You can pick and choose and grab and apply for other objects and assets. So it's not just for this. and that's the whole point, the reason why I made this tutorial. Anyway, I'm gonna play it. See? So this is supposed to be a marshmallow, and there's gonna be other parts to it as well. But yeah, so that's pretty much everything. And the animations that are done, if I look under Windows, Animation, Graph Editor, right? Everything that I taught in the previous tutorials, like I mentioned, and I highly recommend it to do the tutorials, right? This is where it gets applied, where in terms of the animation, you know, all of this will be similar to what the techniques I've used. Okay. Yeah. And also the keyframes, locking down the keyframes. Okay. All right, that's it. Bye.